Hi everyone, and thank you very much for joining this webinar today. And today we will continue talking about efficiently configuring permissions in Salesforce, and specifically we will discuss working with Salesforce objects permission, like sObjects permissions, and assigning permission sets to different users. My name is Vladimir. I'm head of product at the Welkin Suite, and at the same time I'm head of Salesforce development department in our parent SAFSIM company. So, in the next 15 to 20 minutes I will introduce you the Welkin Suite and why it's a great tool for administrators, configurators and developers as well. At the same time I will demonstrate to you how to apply the Welkin Suite's bulkified approaches to working with permission sets and objects permissions. So we will configure objects permissions like create, read, edit, delete, and we will work like in a bulkified way, assign permission sets to different users. At the end we will have a Q&A session, so if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the questions pane as we go, and I will try to answer them during the webinar, or at the very end of the webinar we will go through all the remaining questions. So let's start. And first of all, very quickly, what is the Welkin Suite? So the Welkin Suite, it's a really great tool for Salesforce development and configuration. We've been developing it for more than 5 years, and we consider our own experience and pains as well as feedback from our users across the world when we are developing new functionality, improving something, or keep developing the IDE. And unlike other tools for development and configuration, we do not focus only on the code. We understand that declarative development, configuration, customization, all these point-and-click actions, they require really the same amount of attention from our side, from our team, to develop some functionality and to bring something new to you. This is why we are bringing a lot of different great tools in the Welkin Suite for administrators, for configuration purposes. Our main goal here is to increase the comfort and, I'd say, performance, maybe efficiency of administrators working with Salesforce, especially when we are dealing with massive changes, for example, like setting up a new organization or applying huge changes to a data model, or implementing some very huge changes in the workflows in the organization. For example, in the last 3 webinars, we have covered some of these features. For example, field usage report, field editing and cloning options, my favorite and really incredible field value security editor, and in this webinar I will focus on the last 2 major features that I would like to highlight. It's again objects permissions editor and permission sets assignment. So let's start. Not this way. Here is the Welkin Suite, and I have my demonstrational project opened here, and as you might remember, or I don't know if you're pretty new to the IDE, I'll just highlight very quickly that the Welkin Suite, it's based around different panels. So we are bringing you as much information as possible, and specifically for administrative purposes we have the admin panel, which provides some different information for you as administrators. We try to mimic here somehow Salesforce's setup menu, so you see here's the full list of sObjects, their fields, layouts, workflow rules, validation rules. You can do lots of things starting from the admin panel, but our today's tools are, let's say, available in a bit different place in the IDE. So I have my project selected here, it's my demonstration organization, and I will navigate to the tools menu where I have both of my today's tools available. First of them, it's objects permissions editor. Once I hit this button, the Welkin Suite will start retrieving information about all of the objects that I have and supported profiles that we can display you in this matrix. If you've seen the previous webinar, if you've seen the FLS tool, it's somehow simple, but it's not as beautiful as FLS editor, because we are showing you here a lot of different information. So, on the left side of this matrix, you have the full list of your sObjects in the organization, all of your standard, custom sObjects, objects from managed packages, etc., etc. At the top, you have your profiles, and here it's a pretty important note that right now in the Objects Permissions Editor, we work only with your custom profiles. So in my case, I have 6 custom profiles, and I see all of them right here. For each of the pairs of object/profile, I have all of the settings displayed in a cell. So if a user can read, create, edit, or delete records, or if they can have, if they have the view all or modify all permission. We understand that in most cases you don't deal with view all and modify all permissions, so we have a special button to hide these permissions, to fit a bit more information to your screen and make it, I don't know, maybe a bit nicer. So maybe let's start with quickly reviewing what options do we have in this objects permissions editor, and then I will describe how it works in more details. So let's start with filtering options, because it's again one of our favorite areas to help you to reduce amount of information and to see only needed information on the screen. So for objects you can always start typing using a quick filter. For example, if I want to have here only, I don't know, something from the action plans, so wrong layout. So I can quickly enter here something from a field names, and the ID will filter out and show me only object names with a certain text in them. If I don't want to work with these quick filters, I can click on the filter icon near the object name, and here I can manually select fields that I would like to see. For example, objects. I can see account, action plan, asset, campaign, case, hit filter, and I will see only these objects shown. Another case is that I can provide a bit more, let's say, complicated filters. For example, if a field contains something, let's say if it's a custom field, object. So if it not contains but ends with, and add some another condition, but in my case I will just end up with one condition. Again, I can filter out only custom objects with this simple way. Or I will just clear this filter and move on. But there is another way of filtering to show you only custom objects. Right here in the top toolbar for this window, we have a filter option that allows you to show only standard objects, custom objects, change it once, manage it, or hiding everything not manage it, or just clear filter. So let me see if I have any managed packages. Nope. So I can see only standard objects. Or I will just clear the filter and I will work with all of the objects at the same time. Almost the same but a bit simpler logic is applied to profiles. So you can hit the filter profiles button and we will provide you a full list of profiles that you can see or hide. You can uncheck them manually, you can apply filters and modify, work with select all or none buttons here. If you've selected a certain set of profiles that you are working in most cases, you can save this preset of list of profiles for the whole project. So the next time you open Objects Permissions Editor, we will have the same profiles loaded here, so you won't need to deal with them on your own. And a couple more view options here. So first option is how you would like to see your object names, if it's an API name or if it's a label. I know that in most cases developers are referencing to objects using their API names, but consultants, administrators who almost always work with customers, end users directly, they prefer to refer using labels because this is how we receive, bug reports or feature requests from our end users. They don't know API names and honestly they don't care about them. So you can very easily switch between label view and API name view for your convenience. And the last part, it's assigned only. So once I hit this button, the Welkin Suite will automatically hide all of the objects that don't have any crude permissions set to them. So you'll see only objects that are accessed, objects with some settings set. Again, I will uncheck this button. And let's see how we can set up our permissions here. So I will get back to the show view all modify all buttons, and now I have all the information here. As you might already guess, these highlighted buttons show me that this permission is granted, and black button shows me that this permission is not granted. I can modify the settings one by one, and as you can see, the Welkin Suite automatically applies all of the dependencies, all the dependent permissions, and it automatically checks or unchecks them as we go. We also highlight all of the changes so you won't miss what exactly you've changed as a part of your object permission setup. For example, I can add here modify all, and you see that it has this permission. I can add here view all. I can remove for the asset the read permission, and as you can see, it will remove everything here. Another cool point is that, for example, let me for my custom, or even like for my custom marketing profile, I will remove let me hit refresh button. So once I hit the refresh button, the Welkin Suite again will refresh everything from Salesforce, so you will see the most actual data directly from Salesforce. Now I will switch to contact, and I will remove the read permission for this profile for contact. You don't need to remember anything, like you don't need to do all of the other changes beforehand. The Welkin Suite will automatically again apply all of the dependencies. For example, in our case, removing the read permission for contact removes the same permissions, like all the permissions for assets and accounts. And we handle all of this for you, so you don't need to bother about it, you don't need to think about it, and it's done automatically. Another and my most favorite part of all of our, let's say, bulkified tools and editors in the Welkin Suite, it's an easy way to clone settings For example, I can right-click on any profile and bulk apply this profile, this settings from this profile to other profiles. Or I can do absolutely the same stuff for objects. So for example, I can right-click on the up task template object, select bulk apply, and apply the same settings to task template, and maybe to the action plan template and action plan C. So here are these objects. I hit apply, and all the changes are applied. We've recalculated all the dependencies, we've applied all the dependencies, and now you can very clearly see what exactly are the changes. And yeah, if you have changed your mind somehow, you can reset changes back, for example. And yep, right now it seems like that I'm happy. I would like to apply these changes. So I hit the apply button, and the Welkin Suite automatically immediately applies these changes to Salesforce. In case if there are any errors, in my case there are a couple errors. For example, it seems that I can't modify some of the settings. Yep, I have permission to convert leads. Okay, so I will just refresh my settings back from Salesforce, and I will try applying some different changes. Again, I will apply the same settings from up task template to some other objects. So to action plan template and to action plan itself. Let it be only these changes. So here we are. Now I will hit the apply button, and all the permissions were applied successfully, and they are refreshed right now on the screen. So I can see the same in the output window. So uploading changes for project, successfully uploaded all changes. In this way, you can apply your objects permissions for all of the profiles, for all of the objects in a very quick way. It might not look too shiny, but again, instead of going through lots of pages in Salesforce, instead of doing all of these clicks on your own, you just see one screen, one window where everything is here, and you apply all of your changes with, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 clicks, hit the apply button, and you're ready. Another small point here, it's not used every day, but in some cases you might need to export this data to a CSV format to share it with someone, to keep for your records or for any other purpose. So you can hit export to a CSV, you specify the location where to put it, so let it be in my videos folder. I hit the save button. Now I will go and open my videos. So here's my videos folder, and here is my objects permission. So here's how your CSV file will look like, and let me just spend 20 seconds to make it better. So insert a table, has headers, first column, and in this way you will see your objects permissions. So you can use this for some purposes, to share it with your end users or to share it with someone in your team. And this is a full dump of your objects permission settings. So I won't save these changes, and I will get back to the Welkin Suite. So this was the objects permissions editor, and now I will close it, and I will switch to the permission sets assignment. As you might guess, as you might expect, I believe, it's very similar, and it's like provides almost the same functionality as you've seen for the objects permissions editor. So permission sets assignment is one of a couple of tools in the Welkin Suite that does not work directly with your local files of your organizations that we downloaded when you've created a project, but it works kind of online. Once you open this permission sets assignment window, it gets all of the data directly from Salesforce, so you always see the actual information. And here we have absolutely the same approach. On the left side you see the full list of your users, and on top you see all of your profiles. And you can see just plain checkboxes with all of your permission sets assignments. So you can just modify or apply these changes as you wish. You can use quick actions for a permission set, so I can apply this unicorn pony permission set for all users. I can remove all permission sets from this user. I can grant or assign all permission sets to this user. Or again, as usual in the Welkin Suite, I can right-click on any on any user or on any permission set and use the bulk apply option to, again, clone the settings in just a couple seconds. Here we are. So I've kind of applied changes to these users. I can clearly see what changes I've done and what to expect. So I will roll back a couple of them. I might modify something else. Once I'm ready to proceed with these changes, I hit the apply button and all of these permission sets assignments will get deployed or updated in Salesforce itself. Again, just, I don't know, maybe a couple hours before this demonstration, I've had to remove one huge project from this demonstration organization, and it took me a lot of time initially to try removing this package because it had about 50 or 60 permission sets and almost all of them were assigned to a couple users. So I've tried to do it kind of quickly without loading the Welkin Suite, without opening anything, just in my browsers. But on the third permission sets, I've gave up, I've opened the Welkin Suite, I've created a new project, I've opened the permission sets assignment, and then in 20 seconds, I've removed all the permission sets, I've unassigned all the permission sets from all users, and I've successfully removed that package. So I've kind of tried to save 20 seconds by not opening the Welkin Suite, but at the end I believe I saved about 15 or 20 minutes just trying to unassign permission sets from users. So here I have the error, and this error shows me that there are errors with these permission sets, with this assignment. So all other assignments were applied, but permissions for these users were not applied because I have deactivated this user. So I will uncheck these checkboxes and I will hit the apply button once more. Operation has finished successfully, and now all of my permission sets assignment are assigned. I see the actual state here in the permission sets assignment. I can hit refresh button once more to ensure that everything is okay, and yeah, I can move on and do some of my other stuff and my other work in the Welkin Suite or anywhere else. Again, the best tool here, the best point here is an ability to bulk apply settings from one user to multiple different users, or the same for permission sets. So this was the permission sets assignment tool in the Welkin Suite and objects permissions tool in the Welkin Suite. Now it's your turn to try it yourself, to try these features and other features in the Welkin Suite itself. So open welkinsuite.com, try it for free, download it, play with this and other features, and let us know what you think. We really appreciate any kind of your feedback, if it will save your time, if it won't save your time, if you would like something more in the ID, just let us know, we'll listen to you and we will do our best to implement these features. But at the same time, if you would like to get a more detailed or personalized demonstration for yourself, for your team, company, meetup, or for whoever you want, just let us know at demo@welkinsuite.com and I will be happy to do this for you. Another thing before we'll proceed to the Q&A part, I just want to ask you guys if you would like to spend 5 minutes to have a very quick recap of the Field Value Security Editor, because I know that we've accidentally sent yesterday incorrect email promoting that today we'll chat about Field Value Security. So I will right now launch a poll, and if you would like to see the demonstration of the Field Value Security Editor, just let me know and we'll do it right after the Q&A session. Okay, 5 more seconds. Deal? Great, thank you. So after the Q&A session, I will spend another 5-10 minutes, 7 minutes, to show you the field value security editor, and those who've seen it last week or don't want to see it, you just feel free to drop and enjoy your work. So right now let's chat about your questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them. I will monitor them for the next 2-3 minutes, and I'll be happy to answer any of them. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any questions today. So for those who don't want to see the field value security editor, just thank you very much for attending this webinar today and for your time. I hope it was helpful for you. And for those of you guys who'd like to see about the field value security editor, let's start. So again, I'll get back to the Welkin Suite ID. I will maybe close this output panel. I will close Solution Explorer. I will jump into the admin panel that I've highlighted in the very beginning of this webinar. And the easiest and fastest way for me to start working with any, let's say, enhanced feature of the Welkin Suite regarding your objects is to right-click on the object and open it in the editor. I will hide the admin panel. Once you open the editor, you might see the plain XML of this object, or depending on your previous history, you might see the full list of fields in this object with some of the details about them. So this is a fields updater where you can modify these fields, or you can jump in directly to the FLS tab, where the Welkin Suite will provide you all the details about the field value security. Here again, it's another place where the Welkin Suite works directly with your organization. So right now it downloads details about FLS settings for your object from Salesforce. In some cases, it might take from 10 seconds, maybe up to a minute in a worst case. For example, if you have 500 fields on an object, it might take a minute. In my case, I have 40 fields, I believe, or maybe 60 fields. It took about 15 seconds. Once done, once we've loaded the FLS matrix, it's already familiar to your interface. On the left side we have fields, on top we have all of the profiles without limitations, and in the intersection cells we have details about your FLS. So as you might guess, green icon, it's visible, editable, like full access, read-only, or forbidden. Again, the same approach here as in Objects Permissions Editor. You can modify settings. You can just click through different settings and modify them. We as well highlight here your changes, so you won't miss what you have changed. At the same time, we have quick actions here for profiles and for fields. So I can apply quick filters for profiles and make some for fields. Make some fields read-only or forbidden for all profiles. I can seriously reduce visibility of fields for a couple of profiles, maybe make something read-only for them. And again, my favorite part here, it's the same functionality, the same approach, bulk apply. So I can right-click on a billing address field, select bulk apply tool, and again with checkboxes, select what other fields should have the same settings. So it's completely the same approach, and it really works the same for both fields and profiles. So couple clicks, and I have a lot of FLS settings modified in this matrix. I believe that those of you who've done this in Salesforce can imagine right now how many times you need to set all of these settings directly in the Salesforce setup menu. In my case, I'm done. I'll just hit apply. It will take maybe 30 seconds to apply these changes, and they will be deployed to Salesforce. By the way, another cool thing I wanted to show you about our filters. Let me just show you it. So, for example, right now, let me forbid first 5 fields for all profiles. As you might see, by the way, we have a separate level of highlighting, especially for Z fields that are not available for profiles, for any profile. So we highlight them with a slightly red background, so they might gain some attention from you, because from our point of view, such fields might really require some attention from your side. Why they don't why they are not accessible by any profile? Is it by purpose, or you've missed something, or you just need to delete these fields? It's like a pretty small thing from us to bring your attention to these fields. But I've made first five fields forbidden for all profiles. Now I will switch to filter profiles. I will hide all profiles, and I would like to work with my partner profiles. And additionally, I will check my dummy admin profile. Done. And now I will apply some quick actions for the first five fields. Again, so you see I've done something. Again, I'll get back to filter profiles. I hit the select all button. And as you might see, all of my quick actions were applied only to those visible profiles, not to everything, but only to these visible profiles. This means that, again, as like in the same way as in Objects Permissions Editor, you can create your presets of most commonly used profiles, work with them all of the time, and just really ignore all other profiles that you don't care. The same logic for filters and profile and quick actions applies for fields. So if you apply some filters for fields and you see only 10 of them, all our quick actions will be applied also to the same fields. Report to a CSV button provides you the same option to report it to a CSV file, and it's like pretty self-explanatory, but we have here a small trick that I really love and that saves a lot of time for our teams who work with Salesforce. I don't know how about you, but deploying like field level security between different organizations, for me it's a pain. Deploying them using Salesforce migration tool and plain XML files is too painful, and I can't force all of my administrators and even developers to work with that XML files and to make everything happen successfully with XML files. They're too complex and it's really hard to work with them. From another point of view, deploying FLS settings using change sets, it's also pretty tricky because in most cases, or I'd say in many cases, we tend to lose something or to deploy something else that we don't want. And it's especially sad when you deploy something wrong to a production organization. So it's always a pain for me to deploy FLS settings between organizations. For these cases, we have a very, let's say, dirty workaround, but it really saves a lot of time. So once I have some settings, I can export them to a JSON file. So I just need to provide some location for the JSON file. So it's called sources account FLS. Okay, I've saved my settings. Now I can open my another project. It's my another organization. Let's pretend that it's not another sandbox or dev environment, but let's pretend that it's another production organization. I switch here to the account object and I again open here the field level security tab. Once all of this data will be opened in the editor, as you might guess, guys, I will click on the import button. So I clicked on the import button, I navigated to my sources account FLS JSON, and you might see that some fields got highlighted with yellow. This means that we have moved part of the exported FLS settings to this object. Why I said part? Because again, it's very common situation when in different organizations, even on production and sandbox, you might have some different set of profiles. For example, some profiles exist on production but does not exist on a sandbox, or vice versa. You might have some new fields on a sandbox, but you don't have these fields on a production, and again, vice versa. In our case, like this import-export tool, it's absolutely trouble-free. It won't fail, it won't break you anything, it won't say you, oops, sorry, do something and fix this issue yourself. We will apply changes only to matching pairs. So as you might see, for example, I don't have here API user, and it's absolutely okay. Oops, sorry. But at the same time, in my another organization, I don't have a dummy administrator profile and I have completely different set of fields. It's not a problem. The Welkin Suite applied this pre-applied these changes only to matching pairs of fields/profiles. But to be even on a safer side, for example, again, if you are trying to deploy something to production, you, for example, might decide to don't mess with analytics users or to not mess with your contract managers or maybe with some profile for your, VIP sales managers. So you can reset changes and like discard changes that we've just can't apply it. You might decide to not mess with annual revenue or with industry fields or with some other fields. So again, you just reset settings to their like previous states and you're absolutely safe. Now you can clearly see what exactly will be deployed to Salesforce. So what are the profiles, what will happen here. Once you hit apply button, all of them will be deployed to Salesforce immediately. So this is a very quick, dirty workaround, hack, I don't know, something that really saves a lot of time. You can very easily set your FOS right here in the ID and you can very easily deploy it between different organizations without knowing anything about ant migration tool, without messing with change sets, and absolutely fail safe. So you won't break anything and the tool won't like break itself. It will work in all cases. So here's how like our field value security editor works, and it seems like today, right now, with this small addition, we've covered all of the security related features of the Welkin Suite. So FLS, Objects Permissions Editor, and Permission Sets Assignment. Again, guys, if you have any more questions about this part or Objects Permissions Editor, please feel free to let me know right now, or you can easily contact me using my email, in Twitter, or on forums. Good question from Jadhav. Is there a way to generate package XML with Welkin Suite? Yes and no. It's not very related to the webinar, but let me show you. The Welkin Suite itself anyway always uses package.xml. So we use like the general approach for like as for anyone. So if I will open my project folder and if I will go to the sources folder, I will find here package.xml. So everything that is available in the project, it's like described in package XML. We have some ideas how to provide a bit more ways how to generate package.xml, so to generate a package XML from a subset of items or something like that. So we'll work on that, and I believe that in like next couple months we'll add really a couple more options to work with package XML. But in general, yeah, it's both yes and no. You always have a package XML for your project, but right now you don't have any options to generate some specific package.xml file. Hope this answers. Okay guys, so thank you very much once more for attending this webinar. I really hope it was helpful. We will send you a recording of this webinar tomorrow once I will process the recording. At the same time, you can find recording for all the previous webinars using this link. I will right now post it to the general chat, and it will be also available in the emails that we will send to you tomorrow. So if you would like to get some more details about previous webinar, please feel free to watch the recordings. And as always, please feel free to contact us, try the Welkin Suite yourself, and yep, enjoy it. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great remainder of your day or evening, whatever is your time zone. Bye bye.